best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields. We're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Hanging with Brian from Anytime Auto Sales. I see new models of stand-up and teardrop campers on your lot.
Yes, you do. We're proud to feature the new SGC Armor line of campers from Bontrager Outdoors. Bang for the buck, there's just nothing out there like these new super cool Armor campers and Bontrager teardrops.
And the suspension these campers have? Wow, so impressive.
All our campers come standard with the off-road package. Bontrager and Armor just ramped boondocking up another notch. And right now, you'll get the best price all year on these 2026 ultra-light, ultra-beefy, option-loaded campers and teardrops.
You gotta check out these new look campers, people. The new designs are fantastic, and so many options for their size.
And so many options for towing. No need for a diesel or a big truck. These only weigh around 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, so they can be towed by almost any rig.
Check out these new 2026 Bontrager and SGC Armor campers, everyone. See AnytimeAnytime.com, and as always, at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
It's time to hit the court at the Wautiki Fall Hoop Fest, November 7th through the 9th at the Box Elder Event Center. 3 days of non-stop basketball action as teams battle it out for bragging rights and glory. Divisions for boys and girls, grades 5th through 10th. Bring your game, bring your team, and bring the energy. And when the game's over, celebrate with special Courtyard by Marriott room rates that include Wautiki Water Park passes for even more fun. Don't sit on the sidelines. Register your team today at thebox.live.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Goes north side.
Kelly swings, and it's a high fly ball, deep left center field. Going back, Sheets at the track, near the wall, gone! Cubs take the lead!
On Carson Kelly's solo home run as he and Seiya Suzuki went back-to-back in the 5th. Cubs added insurance in the 8th and topped the Padres today 3-1 on the Cubs radio network to grab Game 1 of their best-of-3 National League wildcard series. In the American League, Tigers won Game 1 against the Guardians 2-1. Tarek Skubal struck out 14 and 7 2/3 to get the win for Detroit. Red Sox and Yankees getting underway. Reds and Dodgers later tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Ron Washington will not return as the manager of the Angels. Neither will interim skipper Ray Montgomery. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy expected to be questionable for Thursday's game against the Rams. Raiders tackle Colton Miller headed to injured reserve with a high ankle sprain and hairline fracture. I'm Dan Byer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Glad you're here. How are you? The Nate Brown Show is back. Tuesday edition of the program. We are live on Fox Sports Radio across the great state of South Dakota. It's always a great day in South Dakota. Remember that. Summer-like here still. Late September, last day of September. Let's make it happen, man. 80s across the board. We'll take that. It's going to get cold. I hate to break it to you. The Nate Brown Show back on. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Appreciate you making this show possible. Our sponsors, our listeners across South Dakota, appreciate that. Let's get you on YouTube if you want to watch us live. We're there, The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. Live stream is rolling, and on X right now. Follow us and watch the show live. We also interact with you on X, so if you have the X app, follow us at Nate Brown Show and then watch the show live every afternoon. Welcome in the radio side on our Fox Sports Radio affiliates. The Nate Brown Show packed tonight. Good stuff across the board. Some great guests to discuss some of the biggest stories in sports around the country. And let's start with Frank Schwab. He is in tonight. Haven't had Frank for a while. National NFL writer for Yahoo Sports, talking Monday Night Football and more. Week 4 in the books for the NFL. Frank Schwab's in. YahooSports.com, national NFL writer. We'll go to the Twin Cities for Matthew Coller. Now, Matthew's got a couple of things we're going to discuss tonight. He's the Vikings insider for PurpleInsider.com. His company, his site, really good. Matthew Coller on the Vikings and where they're at Also on his connection to the Minnesota Lynx and this big story that's just starting to get pop into the WNBA today with Nafisa Collier, the Lynx star who just went blowtorch today. I mean, she just took a blowtorch to the commissioner in the league. So Matthew Coller's wife has been a play-by-play announcer when it comes to the WNBA. So he's got some connections there. We'll talk to Matthew Coller about that story of the day as well. Major League Baseball postseason is underway, and Scott Pianowski is on tonight, National Major League Baseball writer for Yahoo Sports. And finally, John Brice on a Tuesday, college football writer for FootballScoop.com. John Brice in tonight. We are packed across the board from baseball to football to hoops. We got it covered. I'm feeling good today. My Cubbies are in the win column. Go Cubs, go. The Cubbies get it done just moments ago. I mean, I don't have a bad life. I mean, I'm telling you, you guys work for a living. You work hard out there. I was able to at least watch my Cubs for the most part as I prepped the show today, courtesy of Matt Kearney, who brought in the TV into the office. He brought it in. I didn't shut it down because Matt does a lot of good work. He does a lot of good work on that TV, so he brought it in. I was able to watch the Cubbies take down the Padres. I'm liking that. Tigers got by the Guardians, a couple of AL Central teams matching up. Tigers have been struggling big time. They got by the Guardians barely 2-1. Now you got Red Sox, Yankees coming up. I am going to get into a Major League Baseball question of the day for you, so hang on. That one's going to go. But let's throw out the number, 605-720-1067. That's the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline, powered by the Pizza Ranch. Great locations in Sioux Falls at East 10th Street, also in Brandon, and 2 locations in Rapid City. The Pizza Ranch is home of everyone's favorite buffet. You know that. Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Call the show, 605-720-1067. We'll get you on. And the Barron's Wilson text line. Direct text the show there, 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson text line. All right. A lot of ways to go today, a lot to cover today. I will start with my Broncos briefly. So you don't have to lose your mind. I'm not going to lose my mind today. I will start with my Broncos briefly. And I watched the game last night. Bengals are what we thought they were, thanks to Denny Green. The Bengals are who we thought they were. They were the same team against the Vikings last week. I watched that game in its entirety. I watched this game last night. And there's no need to overreact today from many people in the national media. Like, the Broncos win easily. They put up over 500 yards of offense. I mean, it was an easy win last night. That shouldn't happen in the NFL for the most part, and it rarely happens. I was even a little nervous, like, well, the Bengals can't be this bad like they were against the Vikings a couple of weeks ago, right? They can't be this bad. Well, they are. I mean, their defense is Swiss cheese, man. It's holes, I mean, galore. You can run it on them. You can pass it on them. The Bengals are bad. You add in Jake Browning instead of Joe Burrow, and it's lights out. So I was a little nervous that they might play better. They didn't. Broncos played fine. And my evaluation on my Broncos sitting at 2-2, it's really the same I've been from the start. I think they're good. I still don't think they're great. And so that's where some of the national media is still now getting on the bandwagon again. You listen to Colin Cowherd today on Fox Sports Radio. Colin is Broncos Super Bowl roster. They're faster. They got speed. They got talent. They just are better than teams. I'm not there. I'm a Broncos fan, and I haven't been there. So, again, last night I'm watching. I enjoyed it. That's an easy win. That was a dominating win. Fun to see Bo Nix toss it around. Fun to see the Broncos finally get a ground game going and stick with it a little bit. So the Broncos, to me, I'm just telling you my honest take, they're good. And from me as a fanboy, I'm not a homer. You can't say I'm a Kool-Aid drinker and a homer. The Broncos are good. They're going to be very competitive in every game they play. And now you're going to find out, because can we just hold this moment this week? I know our media cycle goes from one day to the next. Can we hold this moment for me where Colin and some of the national media are now back on the Broncos bandwagon? Oh, the Super Bowl. They got a Super Bowl roster. This is the team. I'm not there, and they'll stun me if they make that run. I mean, I will absolutely be stunned with where this team's at. It's not a Super Bowl team. Sean Payton said that. Colin Cowherd and other national media say that. Now they're back on the bandwagon. But how fast will it turn by next Monday after the Broncos play the Eagles? So this is a test, and you can come back at me next week. If my Broncos upset the Eagles, well, then maybe we can start reacting pretty like, wow, is this right? Are the Broncos really this good? Because the Eagles appear to be that team, and the Broncos play the Eagles this week. So now you're going to be able to say, Colin and everybody along the way, okay, maybe the Broncos are the real deal. As of now, my read is we are good. We're not great. And if you're going to be great, you got to beat teams like the Eagles. And I'm just going to find out, where's Colin going to be? If the Eagles take care of my Broncos, is Colin just not going to mention it? Or the national media is just going to fall out of love with the Broncos again? Point being, we can be a little measured. We cannot overreact to every single game. Last night, that's what should have happened. Even if the Bengals are an NFL team, I understand they are in a bad way. They're just going downhill. I mean, the Bengals are going downhill fast, really fast. We never thought their defense would be good anyway. Now you don't have an offense, and it's see ya. I mean, they are absolute toast with no Joe Burrow. So the Broncos should have been good last night. They were. I'm happy. And the big test, the big one, is this upcoming week with the Eagles. Okay, let me get into this story, which some of you are going to say right now, this isn't something people care about. Nobody knows anything about this, and nobody cares about this. And I'm going to say some of you have the opinion that you don't care about this. You're not going to care about every single thing in sports and every single thing that happens. But I just want to represent this story and the magnitude of where it's at. This is the magnitude of this league. You can't just poo-poo the story and say nobody cares, because if this was any other league, from the NFL to the NBA to Major League Baseball, people would be going crazy over this today. And what I'm discussing, it's the story of the day nationally, is that Nafisa Collier is a superstar in the WNBA, okay? Not Caitlin Clark level, but Nafisa Collier is a nice player, Minnesota Lynx. Nice player. Leader of the Players Association, the Players Union, and the whole thing. Nafisa Collier today did her interview with the media as the season wrapped up for the Lynx. And she just went off on the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, and I mean, not just went off, I mean, went absolutely talking about conversations they had, talking about things that were said about Caitlin Clark. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but she went in and had a statement and said, this leadership is the worst leadership in the world. So Kathy Engelbart's the commissioner of the WNBA, okay? The worst leadership in the world, negligent leadership. And so, hang on, you WNBA haters, or you just, WNBA's a shell of itself. The WNBA has risen in value, and we all know this from the Caitlin Clark impact. I mean, it's been an unbelievable Caitlin Clark phenomenon. The revenue that's been generated, the sponsorships, the name recognition, the brand, the whole thing. This has been the Caitlin Clark impact. So now you've got Nafisa Collier of the Minnesota Lynx saying that in her conversations with the WNBA commissioner, the WNBA commissioner says Caitlin Clark is lucky that she's even in the WNBA with the platform that they provide. That was from Nafisa Collier today, saying here's how bad our commissioner is. In my conversations with her, she said, Caitlin's lucky she makes $16 million in endorsements because we give her the platform of the WNBA. So if that conversation's true, now let's just hold the phone here. Take a step back. Is the commissioner of the WNBA that clueless? That She thinks Caitlin Clark's lucky to have the WNBA as a platform. I got to go back a little bit. Caitlin Clark brought everybody into women's basketball in the NCAA Final Four on the women's side first. Caitlin Clark had people caring about Iowa and LSU basketball even before the WNBA. And then, by the way, I was the one that said, I'm not sure Caitlin Clark can even save the WNBA. People don't care about the WNBA. I said, I don't think it's going to work. And the Caitlin Clark stardom absolutely raised the WNBA to levels I didn't even think was possible. And now the commissioner of the WNBA apparently says Caitlin's lucky. Caitlin's the one that's lucky here. She's making $16 million in endorsements and stuff because she has the platform. So you can get into Napheesa Collier's statement today. She talked a ton. It just went blowtorch. I mean, she blew the whole thing up. You're going through negotiations to try and have another agreement between the players and the owners, the players in the league, and you got next season's hanging in the balance. And Napheesa Collier just absolutely demolished it today, which, by the way, I don't love because I've turned into a Caitlin Clark fan and a WNBA fan. And I'm asking you this question, you guys out there that maybe have watched a WNBA game finally because Caitlin Clark has played. Maybe you still don't. That's fine. But you look at the numbers. The numbers have skyrocketed over the last 2 years. And I'm going to ask you, if they miss a season, what happens to the WNBA, the league as a whole? That's my question of the day with you sports fans, because there's a lot of stuff grabbing our attention. We got MLB on, we got NFL on, we got college on, and the WNBA is trying to get that spot in the summer, and then their postseasons in early fall. If they have a season that goes out the window, do you think the WNBA can survive that? That's my question of the day. I have a strong opinion on it. I'll ask you. You can send it in. 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson text line. Pizza Ranch Studio hotline there as well. If there's a WNBA work stoppage, essentially, no season, they're trying to negotiate a new deal, do you think the WNBA survives that? That's my question of the day. 605-720-1067. Let's go to the poll question on Twitter right now, see where people are landing. 605-720-1067. We'll get to the text line here in a minute. If the WNBA has a work stoppage, no season next year, what happens to the league? Is it catastrophic? That's my question. Is it catastrophic? It's over? Or the fans will come back with Caitlin Clark? Whenever Caitlin's back, the fans will be back. That's my question of the day. Your answer so far, 63% of you say if the WNBA misses a season now, it's catastrophic. They'll lose all of their new fans. 63% of you say they lose their new fans for an entire year and the league doesn't come back. By the way, and when I say the league doesn't come back, the league will always come back. Will the attention, will the brand, will the fans, the sellouts, the TV ratings, will that come back at the level we're at right now? It's the highest ever, by far. It's the highest ever by far. So 37% of you say the fans will come back with Caitlin Clark a part of it. Just 37% of you say the fans will come back. Let's see. Listener text. Nate, since you're drinking your Caitlin Clark Kool-Aid today, explain to me why the Fever went further in the playoffs this year without her. Well, if you checked it, and I watched both seasons, they have better players this year. If you checked it, they have better players and better coaching by far. There's a reason the coach got fired last year. You may want to look at that. Better players this year, better coaching. That's one reason. Let's see. And by the way, if the Fever had Caitlin tonight, book it. They beat the Las Vegas Aces tonight. If Caitlin Clark's playing, the Fever have no business doing what they're doing. They're in the Game 5 tonight. Try to go to the WNBA Finals. Becky Hammon, Rapid City Zone, trying to take on Sioux Falls, Nate Tibbetts. We could have a Nate Tibbetts, Becky Hammon final. I'm still pulling for the Fever tonight. We shall see. Listener text, I think this would be stupid, beyond stupid, to not play the season, but I don't think it would destroy them. No, the league will come back, but will it come back at this Fever level? The Caitlin Clark fandom level is off the charts. Here's my honest take. Whenever Caitlin Clark's a part of this, the fans will be storming back. That's not to say if you miss an entire season, it is a big killer. If the WNBA screws this up, like Nafisa Collier today, I guess I appreciate her honesty and all the stuff that she did about the commissioner and, all that stuff. I'm not sure it was great. You can appreciate the honesty and the whole thing. They're trying to get whatever. Not a good sign. She just blasted the WNBA leadership. Worst leadership in the world. That's quite something. So it would be a killer to miss a season, but as long as Caitlin Clark's in this ballgame, that's the only ticket you need. That is the ticket you need. I got that listener out there. He just doesn't like Caitlin. What's your deal with Caitlin, man? What's Caitlin ever done to you? Just look at the numbers. It's the Caitlin Clark League. And so the WNBA, if they miss a season, it's bad. But as long as Caitlin Clark comes back, the fans will be there. She is the needle. Not moves the needle. She is the needle. Frank Schwab's on next. National NFL writer for Yahoo Sports. I'm going to hit on my Broncos and a lot more with Frank. Yahoo Sports coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
If you're on the hunt for deals, now's the time to save at Fleet Farm. Wild game favorites like a 12-pound Trophy Rock Mineral Lick is just $9.99. Wildlife Research Scent Killer Spray Combo is just $9.99 after $5 rebate. And save 20% on all Huntworth hunting apparel and accessories now through October 8th. Check out all our hunting gear and accessories, all at the best prices guaranteed at your local Fleet Farm. And see the rest of our weekly deals at fleetfarm.com.
Your current car or truck may be worth more than you think. Get to Denny Menno Rushmore Honda for our used vehicle buyback event. We need late model, low mileage vehicles, but we'll consider all trades. Bring yours in for a no obligation evaluation. Exceptional values on new and certified pre-owned Hondas, along with increased trade-in values, make now the time to trade up. Hurry! This exclusive buyback event ends October 4th. See us at Denny Menno Rushmore Honda, online at rushmorehonda.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows dip down to about 58 tonight under mainly clear skies. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly sunny skies tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 81. Clear skies tomorrow night. Lows dip down to about 56. Sunshine expected Thursday with highs around 88. 81 Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 84 degrees.
Attention football fans, the BetMGM Sportsbook at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort has it all. Watch your team on massive high-definition screens while enjoying live betting. Keep some skin in the game even when the odds don't go your way. Enter Jack's Second Chance Mulligan Drawing by dropping your losing ticket for a shot at up to $200 in Cadillac cash every week. Satisfy your craving with mouth-watering Mexican cuisine from Guadalajara's or choose from 4 other food vendors, all while sipping on your favorite drinks. The BetMGM Sportsbook at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. How will your game play out?
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding door and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
Whether you're a pro or a Joe, a weekend warrior or a gardening great, Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here when you need us. Nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for everyday athletes like you.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Hey, welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show just getting started tonight. How you doing tonight? Good? Any Caitlin Clark fans out there? Is it just just me? I'm fine, everybody. I just want Caitlin Clark in the WNBA not to miss a season. And, man, they're trying to blow this whole thing up today. Boy, oh, boy. Listener text coming in on that. If the WNBA missed a season next year, what would happen, do you think, to the popularity of the league? Listener text coming in. What did he say here? If there's a lockout in the WNBA, the league is over. End of story. I don't think so. Caitlin Clark's impact is massive. When Caitlin's back, the fans will be back. It'd be a killer. It'd be a killer missing the whole season. It'd be a mess. Caitlin's that big. That big. Let's go to Frank Schwab. He's on tonight. I appreciate it. Good to have him back. Yahoo Sports, NFL. Find him on X at Yahoo Schwab. Frank, good to have you back. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Appreciate your time, man. Let me ask you about the Broncos last night. So I said the Broncos are good, and I've maintained this even though they lost the last second to the Chargers and Colts. The Broncos are good. I still don't feel they're great, even though some national media have said Super Bowl roster, and they said it again today. I'm not there for my Broncos. I think they did what they should have last night. What did you think of the Broncos bounce back?
You know, I thought they looked good. It's tough to gauge because Cincinnati's so bad right now. They've just it honestly looks like a team that's quit already, or just realizes like our season's over. Like we got no shot at this. It seemed like a very unmotivated team right now. But the Broncos handled them, and that's what you got to do against bad teams, which Cincinnati certainly is right now. And I just wonder, the conversation with the Broncos is so different if they beat either of the Colts or the Chargers. And, you know, those are two teams that might win their division. And both were on the road, and both came with zero time left on the clock. So it's not like the Broncos are far off. But I do think the one thing that needs to happen is Bo Nix has to play better. He's been fine. In most games he's been fine, but he's missed some plays. He looked bad in the opener. He looked better last night. Maybe that's a sign that he's warming up. I mean, he had a slow September last year, too, so maybe this is just a thing with him. But that's the one thing. I think their defense is awesome. I think Nick Benito is a kind of a not even really under the radar anymore. He is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. The offensive line's good. Their skill position guys are fine. Cortland Sutton still can play. The one thing is Bo Nix has to raise his game from just being good to being something better. If you want to go to a Super Bowl, you need Bo Nix to kind of get into that tier of unquestioned top 10 quarterback. You don't need to be top 3. The defense is good enough to carry you beyond where you should go. But I just think we need to see better than we saw to Bo Nix for the entirety of September for the Broncos to be great, not good.
Okay, so if you look at the AFC West, is it hard to tell who is the best now? Chiefs bounce back. Chargers lost to the Giants. Now the Broncos are right there. Can you tell yet?
Not really. I will say that I watched the Chiefs on Sunday and said, you just give them one weapon, and all of a sudden the offense looks reborn. What happens when you get the second weapon back? What happens when Rashee Rice comes back week 7? It's not like he's been hurt. Like he's not coming back off an injury. Like he's just a suspension. He doesn't need to. It's not like, oh, he's not going to be the same guy because he's been dealing with this knee or ankle. No, he's pretty much going to, you would assume, as long as he's in shape, plug and play. And all of a sudden, you got a top 10 receiver back in your offense. So that leads me to believe maybe the Chiefs are the best team. I really respect what the Chargers have done. Justin Herbert's playing at a great level. Losing Joe Alt certainly doesn't help the next few weeks, though. And I think the Broncos are going to be right there. We've yet to see the Broncos play the Chiefs. I think that's going to be a huge just test in the AFC West. I mean, the thing about the Chargers losing against the Giants, and I don't, it was a trap game for them. They're going west to east to play a bad Giants team, an 0-3 Giants team. You knew the Giants were going to rally around the rookie quarterback. You end up losing a weird game where you had chances to win. You just kind of blew it. But what it did is it brings everybody back. Like all of a sudden, instead of being, we're 1-2 and 2 games behind the Chargers already, with the Chargers having the game in hand, all of a sudden you're only 1 game back. We're going into October. Well, no big deal. There's a long season to go. So I think it's a 3-team race. I think any of those 3 could win a division. I do think we're going to be in mid-December having the same conversation. I don't think there's any separation here. I think that it's going to be 3 teams until the last few weeks of the season.
Frank Schwab on tonight, NFL writer, YahooSports.com. I want to ask you about a couple of teams. So where are we at on the Vikings? McCarthy's out. It's Carson Wentz. Vikings defense, a little iffy. They can look really good, and then they give up a bunch of yards. Where are we at on the Vikings as they lose to the Steelers, sitting 2-2?
Yeah, and the funny thing about the Vikings is even quarter to quarter sometimes, it either looks really, really good or really, really bad. I mean, I know the Bengals aren't great right now, but goodness, that was a performance, right? Like, they blasted the Bengals. They come back against the Steelers, who I don't think are honestly very good. You can't win that game. But, yeah, you rally. Like, you look good in the fourth quarter. You had a shot to win it. Like, Jordan Addison's got to be able to outrun Peyton Wilson. That's got to happen, right? I don't know. I think the Vikings are good, but the quarterback situation needs to get settled. Carson Wentz holds the ball way, way too long. I'm just screaming at my TV on Sunday morning, like, throw the ball. Like, you know the rush is coming. You know the blitz is coming. You're not going to be able to sit there and hold the ball for 4 seconds. Like, that is just not what you should do, but yet he does it time after time after time. And so I thought for a while that Carson might be able to just play well enough to keep the job just because McCarthy had looked so bad. But now, like, why these coaches aren't going to want to deal with that. If this is the level Carson's going to play at, then he's going to get benched right away as soon as McCarthy's ready. And then you just got to wonder if McCarthy gets better. To bring up Bo Nix again, Bo Nix was bad in September. You remember that. I remember that. Like, he was, we remember Bo Nix having a great rookie season, and he did. He was good for the majority of it. But in September, he was awful. They came in Seattle, and they came in New York, and he was a bad quarterback. So I'm not saying J.J. McCarthy can't become a good quarterback by the end of the year, but if you're the Vikings, what he showed those first 2 games was troubling, alarming. Like, he was bad. So what do you do? Like, I feel for them because you're just sitting there saying, we know we have a good enough roster to make the playoffs, and we're just putting it all back on the shoulders of this really, honestly, rookie quarterback who looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in football, and we just have to pray he gets better. It's not a fun spot to be when you're in the NFL.
How about the Jags, Frank? Jags beat the 49ers. Are the 49ers going to underperform?
They might, just because the injuries are so ridiculous. Bad injury luck should not carry over year to year. It's fluky, right? Like, there's nothing you're doing to get yourself injured, right? It just kind of happens in the NFL. But yet the 49ers were by far the most injured team in the NFL last year. Come back this year thinking, well, that's not going to repeat. Well, it is. They're the most injured team in the NFL again. They might go into that game against the Rams without any receivers, without George Kittle, I think Brock Purdy's going to play, but I can't even be sure of that anymore. Obviously, Nick Bosa's out for the rest of the season, one of the best defensive players in football. The 49ers have to be saying, what do we do? And you got a short week and you're playing at the Rams. Like, it's something that's just going to kind of compound for them all year. Like, are they ever going to be truly healthy? Probably not. Definitely not, because Bosa's out. So, yeah, I do think they're going to kind of underachieve, and I don't think it's their fault. I don't think this is a bad team by any means. I just think when you take away Ayuk and Jennings and Pearsall and Kittle and Purdy and Bosa and Trent Williams has been banged up, and just on and on and on. You just say, what can they do? You just can't compete when the injuries stack up like that.
Okay, Ravens 1-3. Is it over for them? Is it over?
I don't think it's over, and that's kind of the same thing with the 49ers. If we're just talking about the Ravens being 1-3, I would say, well, look who they lost to. They lost to the Bills, they lost to the Lions, they lost to their Chiefs. So all three of those teams might be among the top 5 teams in the NFL. But it's not just the 1-3 record. Lamar Jackson may be missing time. It's a ton of other injuries, especially on defense. Their defense does look bad. Like it just like last year they did the same thing. They were bad in September, figured it out. And you're like, okay, well, maybe that repeats. Maybe you can do that again. It's not easy to do that year after year, but you could. Well, now with the injuries, now with Roquan Smith out and all the other guys, like half their secondary's done. So I do worry about that. They have 2 home games coming up. They play the Texans this week. They play the Rams a week after that. I think those 2 games determine the rest of their season. I really do. And that's kind of crazy to say in October, but just going 9-8 and winning the division is not doing the Ravens any good. That's not what they want to be. They want to be a Super Bowl contender. And I think if you lose both of those games, even if you lose one of those games and you fall to 2-4 going into your bye, you're just not a Super Bowl contender. I think this is huge for the Ravens, perhaps without Lamar Jackson for both weeks, to just figure out a way. Figure out a way to beat the Texans. Figure out a way to beat the Rams. Get into your bye week. Get a little healthy. Maybe you can start stacking wins after that. I just think these next 2 games are absolutely positively massive for the Ravens to try to win without Lamar Jackson and a bunch of other guys too.
Huge test for the Broncos. Early 3.5-point underdogs against Philly. What's the early lean?
Yeah, I kind of like the Broncos there, to be honest. I don't think Philly's played well. I know they're 4. It's crazy. You say that. They're 4-0, right? Like everybody but Buffalo would be like just signing up for 4-0. I mean, they're 2 undefeated teams, and Philly's one of them. But each game you can look and say, boy, it was ugly for a half. It was ugly for 3 quarters. They did not complete a pass in the second half on Sunday. The week before that, the Rams absolutely positively dominated them for 2.5 quarters. They turn it on when they have to. They do enough to get by. They make enough plays to win. But this has not been good. The offense has been really not good at all. Saquon hasn't gotten going. A.J. Brown hasn't gotten going. Jalen Hurts is not throwing for a lot of yards. The defense has been fine. Like it's okay. Like it's not bad by any means. But they also got run over by the Rams for more than half. So I think the Broncos have a good chance to go in there and compete. Again, it's all about Bo Nix. If he goes in there, plays a good game, makes some plays, doesn't make mistakes, I think the Broncos could pull the upset. I really do. I think the Broncos are a very good football team, and the Eagles are just I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Eagles. I don't know. They played 3 tough opponents in 4 games or 4-0. I should be sitting here saying, yes, that's your Super Bowl favorite. Why not? They've won 20 of their last 21 games going back to last September. But I'm just not. I'm like, I just don't know what to make of the Eagles right now.
3.5-point underdogs for the Broncos taking on Philly. Frank Schwab, after week 4, he's in YahooSports.com, NFL coverage. Frank, always appreciate it. Thanks.
Yep, absolutely, Nate.
Appreciate it. Frank Schwab on the Nate Brown Show tonight on Fox Sports Radio, national NFL writer for Yahoo Sports, getting us going on a Tuesday. Good breakdown from Frank. He's leaning with my Broncos plus 3.5 against the Eagles. Plus 3.5 against the Eagles. Listener text coming in on the Bengals last night. The Bengals quit during the game. Wouldn't be surprised if the front office fired the coach. Those players know the season's over. They're just hoping not to get hurt now. Well, here's the thing. Broncos were up 21-3 quickly. I mean, if you watch that, I was watching that, 21-3 quickly. And it was kind of just moving the ball, not scoring, moving the ball, not scoring. Then got another one. It was lights out for sure. So Broncos were never in doubt, but they were up 21-3 and then kind of hit a dead zone there for quite a while. Moved the ball up and down the field, couldn't get in, some mistakes, but Bengals could not make it even competitive, and that's 2 weeks now. Not competitive against the Vikings, not competitive against the Broncos. Bengals are sketchy, real sketchy right now. Let's go to college football on the Nate Brown Show. One of the best in the country is John Brice, footballscoop.com. I'm going to ask him about Kalen DeBoer and why the media hasn't given Kalen a fair shot. John Brice, footballscoop.com, coming up.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors. The customers say it best, and they feel the difference every day.
Very happy with it. Very, very happy. I don't get tired of looking at them. And it's so nice with the Brice now opening the windows, the ease of sliding the windows back and forth. Notice that it is warmer in the winter time, and it is cooler when the sun is shining in.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors. The customers say it best. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Joint and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at BH.
Hey golfers, have you experienced Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club? Golf Digest ranked Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club the #1 public course in South Dakota. Off Exit 17 in Spearfish, Elkhorn Ridge offers a golfing experience second to none. Play their 18-hole championship layout with your buddies. Stop into Miller Creek Pub for some drinks, or bring the family out for lunch and try out the new putting green right below Miller Creek Pub. Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club has it all. Book your next tee time at elkhornridgeresort.com.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, welcome in. The Nate Brown Show. Happy. It's always a great day in South Dakota. And the Cubbies are up 1-0 on the Padres. Cubbies win at Wrigley Field. Couple of back-to-back jacks today. All right, Cubs up 1-0. Red Sox Yankees underway. John Brice is back on South Dakota Sports Talk Show, and he loves this song. He is with FootballScoop.com. John, how are you?
I'll give your Cubs fans credit for having a song short enough for you all to remember all the words. So I was wondering what I said on the Football Scoop podcast today when my boss was talking about being at the Ole Miss LSU game last weekend, and Ole Miss had polished off the Tigers by then, and then Mississippi State was beating Tennessee and suffered a come-from-ahead loss, and the boss said, the Grove might have erupted in cheers at that point in time. And I said, yeah, the SEC is like me with the Cubs. I love my Braves. I'd rather see the Cubs lose. So,
I knew it. I was wondering.
Good for you. Good for you.
I was just wondering what
no
you'd
World
say.
Series. No World Series has ever been won on September 30th.
That is true. I'm going to take what I can, and I just knew you'd be ready for that. Okay.
I appreciate you for it. I love you for it.
That's good stuff. John Brice is in. He's the national college football writer for footballscoop.com and noted Cubs hater. Okay, let me get your read on this story. I want your honest perspective. Here's how I feel about Kalen DeBoer in South Dakota, and I'm biased. Kalen's won wherever he's been. He's highly respected. He just goes about his business. And here he is getting trashed when he loses to Florida State. And I understand it's Alabama. They lose to Florida State. There's people saying he's going to get fired. We should fire him. And I just said, I did a segment yesterday, John. I said, he wins against Georgia, and nobody says a thing. Nobody says nothing. That's a guy who's going to get hammered when he loses, and I guess we're not going to credit him when he wins. I don't see much about it. What is your take?
Yeah, I agree with you on both. The criticism and the torrent of criticism for the Florida State loss was unavoidable because of the way Alabama closed last season. It wasn't isolated to that moment, to that really bad Florida State loss. It was carried over by the fact that Alabama struggled down the stretch of last season when it had a playoff berth right in its hands, and it lost to a dreadful Oklahoma team and looked disinterested. It barely beat a very marginal Auburn team, and then it got blown out by Michigan in the bowl game. And so then you have that close to the season, and you follow it up by laying an egg in your first game of 25. Yeah, you're going to hear it. And the other thing is, Kalen DeBoer doesn't get enough credit for being the guy willing to replace Nick Saban, because every coach I've ever talked to says you never want to be that guy. You want to be the guy that replaces that guy.
Right.
And Kalen DeBoer had the intestinal fortitude, we'll say, since this is a family-friendly show, had the intestinal fortitude to take that job. And he's got Kirby Smart's number. Let's talk about that. Like, you want to talk about Kalen DeBoer? I like Kalen DeBoer. I don't know him like you do, but I like him. I like a number of members of his staff that I do know quite well. So I like him a lot, and I think he needs more credit for he's made Kirby Smart look pretty darn mediocre in the first half of two consecutive games with vastly different teams, and a guy who's barely had any starts on the road, and Ty Simpson. But they nearly ran Georgia out last year in Tuscaloosa, and they nearly ran the dogs out this year between the hedges, and nobody's done that to Kirby Smart.
Okay, one more on Kalen DeBoer. I just feel like this is going to be the narrative, meaning if he loses another game, then we're coming after him. So I wonder what the end goal there is. When can Kalen DeBoer win over the Alabama fans and the national media?
I'm not sure he can win over the Alabama fans until he wins in the college football playoffs. And that doesn't mean he has to win a national title this year, but I think he's got to take Alabama, if Alabama is not the SEC champ when it all shakes out and thus doesn't have a bye, then he's got to take Alabama still probably to the semifinals. I don't think, if he wants to dissuade this narrative, I don't think he does it just by advancing to the playoffs. I think he would have to win a couple of games pending the Crimson Tide seeding in that scenario.
Okay, interesting. John Brice, good stuff. Footballscoop.com, national writer. The Football Scoop podcast, really, really good. Check him out on X at John D. Brice1 if you're not following him. Let's stay in the SEC. LSU loses to Ole Miss. I took LSU there. I thought this was LSU's team. Defense unbelievable. I thought they're good enough. Nussmeier's going to be good enough. LSU goes down. Is that a bad loss for Brian Kelly?
It's not a bad loss for Brian Kelly in and of itself. The problem is it's not going to be LSU's only loss, and they've got one of the toughest schedules in the country. They're breaking in 4 new starters on the offensive line. They underachieved last year with 4 NFL players on the offensive line. So it's never, unfortunately, it's never a single answer to the question, Nate. There's so many different factors in the here and now. That's not a bad loss. And what's still ahead for LSU, that's probably going to end up a bad loss, because now the margin of error to feel really good about the playoffs is one more loss along the way. And I don't have their schedule directly in front of me, but I know it's got a bunch of real grueling opponents on it coming up, quite succession. So I think Texas A&M's still on there, maybe an Oklahoma trip. Arkansas will be mailed in completely by then, but Petrino will still be trying to score points. And so, I think the bigger issue is that it's year 4. They got 4 new starters on the offensive line. They can't run the football. And Brian Kelly's supposed to be a pretty offensive-minded guy, and they're dreadful on offense.
Okay, speaking of Arkansas, so here's, Bobby Petrino making another appearance. So Petrino's in charge. Arkansas fires Hartman. Oklahoma State fires Gundy. Has this type of stuff happened before this early, or are we doing it a little bit differently now, getting rid of coaches this quickly?
There's a little bit greater volume to it. There are technically 5 power conference jobs open right now, Nate, and they are Oklahoma State, UCLA, Virginia Tech, Arkansas, and Stanford. We tend to forget Stanford because Frank Reich is there as an interim, but that's an open job, and Andrew Luck, the general manager, has talked about seeking, or being in the process of finding a permanent coach for that program. So that's the difference, is that there's 5. It's not been that long since Clay Helton got fired in the opening month of the season from USC about 4 years ago. So it has happened, but the volume of it is different, and it's probably going to keep at a high volume pace. Like, we've written about it on Football Scoop in recent weeks. We've talked about it on our podcast. Every coach we talk to, all the agents around the country, and agents are like you and me. We don't agree on anything that has to do with Cubs and Braves. But when you can find unanimity, it means it's the truth. And agents that hate each other all are saying this is going to be the biggest coaching cycle in a long time. I really believe that. There's a lot more Power 5 jobs, probably Power 4 jobs probably going to come open because coaches get fired. There's going to be dominoes out of that, coaches taking new jobs that cause other jobs to come open. So this is, even though we're 5 deep already in coaching changes, we're getting ready to have a lot more.
That's interesting. Is it because of the money game? The NIL, everybody, you should win. You can pay players. We should win. Why are the coaches getting let go?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. It is money. There's a better idea of what the money is going to look like now moving forward. A year ago, a couple of guys saved their jobs temporarily because nobody knew for sure if the House settlement was going to pass, what it would look like if it did pass, would the $20.5 million be enacted, all of those things. Now there's a sense that people know better what the money looks like, how to manage the money, how to manage the House settlement, how to handle revenue sharing. And yes, that's why. Because in this sport right now, it used to be you got 5 years, and then it shrunk to 4 years. Now, 3 years is really about the max you're going to get to rebuild somewhere that is impatient and that wants to build. And there's too many examples out there of guys doing it in a hurry because of the transfer portal, because of being able to pay players. And so, yeah, we're going to see it continue right now. I think eventually it will stabilize a little bit, but we're a couple of years from that happening, and we're going to see a lot of rapid movement. Because here's the other thing: you talk about how much money it costs to fire a coach and his coaching staff. The metrics are out there that will tell you how much it costs not to fire a coach when fan apathy sets in, when you lose ticket sales, when you lose donations, when you're no longer getting your royalties from collegiate licensed merchandise and your merch sales are in the toilet. So for every study that will tell you, it's going to cost Arkansas $14 million to fire Sam Pittman and his staff, well, it might have cost them $50 million to not make a move.
Very interesting. Last one. Did you see the James Franklin loss coming to Oregon? It was a good game. OT, interception, it's over. Did you see that coming?
It's hard not to say you saw it coming. I did, in full transparency, pick Penn State on the Football Scoop Picks panel straight up because I thought if Penn State's ever going to do it, it's now. And I thought they've got about the most veteran backfield anywhere in college football between Drew Aller and Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, the two stud running backs. They had home field advantage. It was a night game. They had 111,000, almost entirely all clad in white. In other words, screaming their lungs out for them, and they couldn't find a way to get it done. So, once again, big picture, you can't be surprised because James Franklin's now 4-21 against AP top 10 foes as the Penn State coach. More damning, in my opinion, is that he's now 3-14 against AP top 10 foes at Penn State, while his team also is ranked in the top 10. So James Franklin wants to change the narrative. He's got to win one of these games. He's got a couple of more opportunities. He can change the narrative in a hurry if he wins at Ohio State. he'll do a little bit of damage control on the narrative if he handles Indiana at home later this year. But really, his only chance to truly silence anyone of any note would be a victory against Ohio State. And I'm telling you right now, that's not going to happen.
John Brice tonight, rolling. Footballscoop.com is the site. If you're a college football fan, you got to get there every day. I go there, national college football writer on tonight. John, good to have you, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, Nate. Good luck to your Cubs. I won't cheer for them, but I'll tell you good luck.
All right, I appreciate that. We'll have some fun with John and my Cubbies here, I think. John Brice, noted Cub hater. I mean, does anybody hate the Cubs? That's a question of the day. That's a new question of the day. Does anybody out there listening to the Nate Brown Show tonight, I'm talking have a passion to hate the Cubs? I never met anybody that hated the Cubs until I met John Brice on this program years ago. What is the deal, man? Footballscoop.com, national writer John Brice. If you hate the Cubs, tell me why. Because there's no good reason. The lovable losers, Harry Carey, Steve Stone, Andre Dawson, Ryan Sandberg. I mean, the greats. It's the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. It's baseball. It's the Cubbies. Everybody loves the Cubs. Go around the country and go to all the stadiums. It's Cubs fans galore. I never met anybody. I mean, you can hate the Yankees. Yes, you hate the Yankees. You hate the Dodgers. Nobody's hated the Cubs outside of John Brice. Appreciate your support, John. Thanks a lot. Cubs up 1-0 on the Padres. Hey, I'm coming right back on the Nate Brown Show. Speaking of Major League Baseball, postseason's underway. I have a question of the day about the postseason. There's some big markets in the postseason. Baseball's been on the rise with ratings. What do you say about postseason baseball, and how interested are you? Coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best, and they feel the difference every day.
Very happy with it. Very, very happy. I don't get tired of looking at them. And it's so nice with the Brice now opening the windows, the ease of sliding the windows back and forth. Notice that it is warmer in the winter time, and it is cooler when the sun is shining in.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Ridge and Hot Springs is your go-to building materials partner. Whether you're building new or giving new life to an old space, we provide step-by-step guidance from drafting and cabinetry design to lifelike visualization and top-quality materials. It's your vision, and we're here to make it real. Visit BLDR.com. Builders First Source, your Black Hills partner in building every step of the way.
At Dakota Discount RV, we're in it for the long haul, just like you. Whether it's cross-country adventures, weekends by the lake, or family time under the stars, we're here to keep you rolling for years to come. While others are packing up, we're doubling down with dependable service, great prices, and the biggest selection in the region. Your journey doesn't stop here, and neither do we. Here tomorrow, here for every mile ahead. Visit us in Rapid City or Somerset or online at dakotadiscountrv.com.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
All right, welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is live. It's always a great day in South Dakota. Welcome in. Tuesday edition of the program. It's South Dakota Sports Talk Show on Fox Sports Radio. A reminder, you can stream us right now on X. If you're on X, follow the show right now at Nate Brown Show, and then you can watch the show live every afternoon on your phone, wherever you take us with you. Find us on X and follow us at Nate Brown Show on X. Welcome in. Matthew Coller's coming up from the Twin Cities this next hour. Vikings Purple Insider. Matthew Coller's wife is a play-by-play announcer. She's covered the WNBA and the Minnesota Lynx, and so he's got a connection to this WNBA story out of Minnesota today. Nafisa Collier, one of the all-time greats there in the WNBA, just went off today on the commissioner and the leadership of the WNBA. I mean, this is quite something. Private conversations being exposed today with the commissioner and Nafisa Collier about Caitlin Clark and stuff. I mean, it's wild. And the reason is, even if you don't care about the WNBA, if this would happen, this would be like a quarterback, like Patrick Mahomes, saying what he talked to Roger Goodell about, and Roger Goodell throwing other players under the bus. I mean, we'd be like, what? So we'll get to that. Matthew Coller's coming up from the Twin Cities. Hang on. I have a question of the day out there on Major League Baseball. The postseason is underway. Number one, I asked, does anybody hate the Cubs? Does anybody hate the Cubs outside of my great guest, John Brice, national college football writer from footballscoop.com? And we have no hate of the Cubs on the program tonight. I knew it. We have no hate of the Cubs. Well, I just got a couple of listener texts here, 605-720-1067. It's the Barron's Wilson text line for the program. Listener text, I hate Wrigley Field. I hate Wrigley Field. What do you want? This is an all-time classic. An all-time classic right there in the heart of the north side of Chicago. Me and my wife went there years ago. We walked around Wrigleyville. I mean, it's a classic. What do you hate, Fenway Park too? You hate Fenway? I've been there too. You got to like these classic ballparks. Listener text, there are drunk Cub fans. I had drunk Cub fans in front of me, and beer was getting thrown on me when I went to watch them play the Rockies. Drunk Cub fans? Say it ain't so. By the way, Cub fans are pretty good. Cub fans are pretty nice, pretty easygoing. Who do you think would have the worst fans in Major League Baseball? Anybody have a clue? Anybody have an idea who has the worst fans in Major League Baseball? I automatically think of the Phillies. Philadelphia fans are just rough. I mean, they're rough. I was walking in Philly with a Cubs jersey on, and I had the FedEx guy. I thought he was going to hit me with his truck, but I had the FedEx guy yell out his window, "You suck!" And it's like, bro, it's baseball. I was just a random taking strays from the FedEx guy in Philly. So that told me what I was going to experience that night at Citizens Bank Park. So Phillies fans got to be up there just like in all sports. Yankee fans, not so sure. I haven't been to Yankee Stadium, so that's one ballpark I haven't been to. I would think pretty obnoxious, New Jersey guys, the dude bros that we saw at the Ryder Cup, those guys. Let's see. Let's go to this question of the day. Speaking of Major League Baseball postseason, so my Cubbies are playing. They're up 1-0, so I'm pumped. I'm juiced. Now, I have to admit something. When my Cubs are not in the postseason, I'm not as engaged in Major League Baseball postseason. Sometimes I might make some bets on some games, so I'm engaged in them, but I'm not following it super, super close every pitch, every inning of the other games. Is that surprising at all? I mean, I got to follow this stuff. I'm a baseball fan. I played it as a kid. That was like my first love of sport, is playing Little League Baseball and the whole thing. But so I follow it. But, like, if my team's not in the postseason, I'm not nearly as plugged in. And that's my question of the day for you. I know you're out there. You say, well, the Twins are out. They've been out forever. Are you guys still following Major League Baseball postseason? By all accounts, ratings are up. Attendance has been great. Major League Baseball kind of on the rise since they've made a couple of changes in game and that whole thing. So my question of the day, when your team is not in the postseason, how engaged are you in the Major League Baseball playoffs? My team, the Cubbies, are in. I watched it this afternoon in the office, and so I'm engaged. How engaged are you when your team's out of it? Not in the postseason. That's my question of the day. 605-720-1067. Just try to get a read on baseball fandom in South Dakota. Hey, it's a tight vote right now on X. I asked the question, do you watch the Major League Baseball playoffs a lot, even if your team's not in it? 51% of you say, yes, I watch a lot anyway. 49% of you say, no, I just watch my team. 605-720-1067. Listener text, Yankees must lose. That is all. I'm with you on that. I am with you on that. I don't know why I hate the Yankees. I mean, it goes back to all those years that they won. I think that's just it. I always, build them as the best team money can buy, and they just have all the money, and the Yankees won all the time, and they knocked out the Twins over and over and over again. The mighty Twins, the little engine that couldn't quite get over the top. So I don't like the Yankees. Do they have the worst fans in Major League Baseball? That's interesting. I wonder who has the worst fans. You read on that. Let's get into the second hour on the Nate Brown Show tonight. I've got something that I have to admit, and Sean Payton and I have a love, difficult relationship. Like, I try to give Sean Payton, my coach of the Broncos, the benefit of the doubt. I didn't like Sean before he came to Denver. So I didn't like some of the stuff in New Orleans at all. I didn't like that stuff at all. And so then I'm like, well, he's my coach and my team. I got to get plugged in here. So I give Sean credit on stuff. He seems like he builds a strong culture. The players respect him. He's got things buttoned up. I mean, he is not loose at all. So I love the discipline. And the players seem like, man, they play hard for him. So that's a sign to me you got a good coach there. But there's one thing I'm going to add to the list. Sean Payton has now ticked me off today, and I'll explain next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
Stock up and save on the toughest filters in the business during Wix Filters sale days at your local Auto Value Parts store. Not only will you get the best deal of the season on our very best filters, but you'll also find deep discounts on oil, fluids, grease, batteries, and more. Upgrade your filters during Wix Filters sale days at your local Auto Value Parts store. See store for official sale dates. Auto Value. We've got the parts. We've got the smarts.
Western and South Dakota's largest selection of used cars, trucks, and SUVs is at Danny Menho Rapid Chevrolet. Over 350 to choose from. GMC, Ram, Ford, Jeep, imports, Chevys, GM certified pre-owned, 24 different manufacturers, all with Danny Menho discounts. If you want it, we have it, or our friendly staff will find it for you. Buyers on site offering top dollar for all trades. Financing available on the spot and all credit applications accepted. See us at Danny Menho Rapid Chevrolet or DannyMenhoRapidChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
At Highmark Credit Union, we believe banking should feel personal. That's why when you walk into our lobbies, you'll be greeted by real tellers and friendly staff, ready to help with your questions, big or small. And yes, we've got the latest technology too, for when you want quick and convenient service. The best part? You get to choose. Highmark Credit Union. Personal service backed by modern technology. We'll make it happen. Federally insured by the NCUA.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Kickoff just got bigger. Murphy's Pub and Grill is back with NFL Sunday Ticket. That means every game, every team, every Sunday. Right here at your favorite bar. Cheer loud, eat big, and score with Murphy's game day specials on food and drinks. The atmosphere, electric. The staff, legendary. The screens, everywhere. This season, don't just watch football. Experience it. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, baby. Murphy's Pub and Grill, your new football headquarters. Visit murphyspubandgrill.com.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in South Dakota. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, your sports, your show. The Nate Brown Show is on Tuesday, second hour, ready to go on Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here. Thanks for making this show possible. I appreciate you spending some time with us every afternoon drive on Fox Sports Radio. It's South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Remember, you can stream us on Midwest Sports Plus if you have the new high school sports app. A lot of good games on there. Great coverage. Midwest Sports Plus just launched in August. And our show is live on Midwest Sports Plus on the new app. Also on YouTube, our channel, The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. You've got us. Welcome in there. And finally on X, at Nate Brown Show. Question of the day, we throw it out on X. We interact with you, so follow us there and watch us live. Second hour, ready to go. We're driven by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned selection in South Dakota, I want you to think first of SummitAutoGRP.com. Start there on your phone. Take a look at what they have. That's how it starts. But a really experienced car buying built around you, from the selection to the treatment to the financing. It fits you. SummitAutoGRP.com. Start there for pre-owned. This hour, Scott Pianowski is in. Major League Baseball writer, Yahoo Sports. We've got him tonight. Scott's coming up, talking postseason. Yanks up 1-0 on the Red Sox as I speak. Those Yankee fans up on the Red Sox. By the way, this postseason, you have some big markets here. The Cubs, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees. I mean, you got some good stuff here. Scott Pianowski's coming up. We'll go to the Twin Cities next, talking Vikings and a splash of WNBA controversy today, big time, with Matthew Coller. He's got an interesting perspective. Matthew Coller covers the Vikings. His wife is a play-by-play announcer for the WNBA for the Minnesota Lynx. So I've got Matthew coming up from PurpleInsider.com from the Twin Cities. Hang tight. Listener text, people have been voting on the worst fans in baseball. You don't think of fans being terrible in baseball. You're supposed to have a good time, get a beer, get a hot dog, enjoy. It's family friendly. It's good stuff. Worst fans in baseball. Somebody said they hated Wrigley Field. I mean, that's just bad. That's bad right there. It's old and stuff, but you can't hate Wrigley Field. What a place. That is baseball. That is baseball. Worst fans, listener text. I'm going to vote for San Francisco Giant fans. That's all it said. San Francisco Giant fans. Can't say I've experienced a lot of the Giants. Yankees getting some votes. I've got one that just came in. I think the Dodgers fan is the worst. They only like their team when they're good, and they throw money at everyone. Everything in L.A. is fake. What do you... Passion. Fake passion in L.A. Fake passion is what you're saying. Or what are you talking about being fake out in L.A., the land of fake all sorts of stuff? Okay, worst fans in Major League Baseball. You can text us on the text line. Your thoughts there, 605-720-1067. All right, I have an announcement. I've admitted to you guys, and I talk about this a little bit. I have a difficult relationship with Sean Payton. And I have people that reply to me. I got a message last night on X that said they just can't stand Sean Payton. I was saying, hey, my Broncos, looking okay. We don't need to overreact here. I mean, it's just the Bengals, so nice win, played well. I'm going to take it. I enjoyed it. It was good to see. And then people just blasted, I hate Sean Payton. It's like, I understand. I'm not there. He's my head coach, and I respect a lot of the things that he's been able to do. He has been able to turn the Broncos around, albeit in different ways, and I think he's stubborn as he's all in on Bo Nix no matter what. So, I mean, there's issues there, but I'm just telling you that I have a difficult relationship with Sean Payton. I don't love him. I didn't before he came to Denver because of the New Orleans Saints and the ego and the smartest guy in the room. You just don't like guys like that. That's just me. That's what he looks like. He talks down and stuff. He's not one of the boys. Not one of the boys. I tend to like Kevin O'Connell guys better. Really easygoing, passionate, happy. I know, fluffy. Everybody's nice. But that's Kevin O'Connell. Creates a good culture and does it in a different way than I would say Sean. Okay, but I respect Sean. He's doing a good job. But I got to put one demerit next to his name now, and this is, I'm just going to start weighing the pros and cons of Sean Payton. Sean Payton comes out today at his press conference talking about the matchup coming up against the Eagles this weekend. My Broncos take on the Eagles and in Philly on Sunday. And they asked him, what are your thoughts on the tush push? The media asked Sean Payton today, what are your thoughts on this, the tush push? Leave it to Sean Payton. Leave it to my guy. Sean Payton, quote, I was one that stood up in favor of it. And I got that story today. I go, of course he did. I went out of my way to stand up in favor of it. And then he goes on to tell us why it's so good. He said it might be the safest play in football. What are you talking about? Ask if it's the safest play for the D linemen or the offensive linemen who get their heads crushed, the necks crushed. And by the way, you just don't have any data on, hey, it's the safest play in football. What are you talking about? So, Sean, we didn't need to have that. And by the way, when my Broncos go and play Philly, we'll see if you think it's a good play Sunday. I hope you're John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen, these guys, I hope they appreciate you supporting the messed up advantage offense play that's not a football play. It's an unfair advantage advancing the runner. And he'd say, the reason I stood up in favor of it's pretty simple. He said, my bull meter went up. He said they were talking about, it could have been, it's injuries and stuff like this. He said, if it was hard to officiate and everything, that might be fine. But my bull meter went up when they were talking about injuries. Sean Payton, I'm one who looks at it as long as the line of scrimmage is clean, it's a well-run quarterback sneak. As long as the line of scrimmage is clean. What do you mean, like they false start every time they do it? The guard jumps every time he does that. That's not a clean line of scrimmage. And you can't see it because it's a jumbled mess. And by the way, it's not a quarterback sneak. It's 3 players pushing him over the line. We don't advance the runner. We used to have rules that you cannot advance the runner down the field with 3 guys lifting him up and sailing him against the defense. And so it's all advantage offense. The snap count, they let the offensive line false start. They let the players push from behind. There's so many advantages that 1, 2, 3, defense cannot stop it. So leave it to Sean Payton. I was just starting to come around on Sean, man. Yeah, you're not going to stick up for the tush push. No, he said, quote, I was one that stood up in favor of it. Good luck with you on Sunday. I hope he stands up in favor of it Sunday. Hey, nice play, guys. You just beat us. You ran it 9 times today. You just beat us. Congrats. Thanks a lot, Sean. You're going to lose on Sunday with attitude like that. Matthew Coller from Minnesota coming in next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best, and they feel the difference every day.
Very happy with it. Very, very happy. I don't get tired of looking at them. And it's so nice with the Brice now opening the windows, the ease of sliding the windows back and forth. Notice that it is warmer in the wintertime, and it is cooler when the sun is shining in.
Renewal by Anderson Windows and Patio Doors, the customers say it best. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Everywhere you need us to be, on the sidelines supporting our local athletes, at our clinic locations throughout the region, and at our Ortho Express walk-in clinic when you don't have time to wait. We're here when you need us, working as a team to make your comeback stronger than ever. Getting stronger, getting better, getting you back to your best self. The life of an athlete has its uncertainties, wins and losses, injury and recovery. In the Black Hills area, athletes can always count on Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, here for whatever moves you.
Attention sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street, featuring 4 full courts for basketball and volleyball. E3 Sports Complex is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome into the Nate Brown Show, where we fight the good fight against the tush push. But leave it to Sean Payton to fight for the tush push, and his team's going to go up against the tush push Sunday. Sean, I wonder if you're going to lose because of it. I hope your D tackles appreciate your support of Philly's tush push Sunday. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. Boy, what a battle. What a battle this is, the tush push battle. And Sean Payton, he stood up in favor of it. He said he wanted to help Philly continue the tush push. Thanks a lot. Matthew Coller's in tonight. PurpleInsider.com is his site, covers the Vikings. Matthew, welcome on. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. You know, it's always ventful here in Minnesota sports, so just another day, right?
Okay, I'm going to get to the Vikings. I would think, well, Vikings are usually number one with you, but I want your perspective on this because you have some connections and you're close to this. So I said if it wasn't the WNBA, if it was any other league, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and you had what happened today with a star player, one of the all-time great players, call out a commissioner and the leadership, like this would be like Patrick Mahomes calling out Roger Goodell and saying, hey, Roger Goodell really said this about Tom Brady. Something like that. People would go, what is going on? Nafisa Collier, Minnesota Lynx, press conference today, written statement, went through a ton of stuff and said the leadership of the WNBA is the worst leadership in the world. So I'm going to ask you about this. You follow the WNBA. Why do you think she did that today?
I mean, it was pretty shocking to have a superstar come out and make statements like that. But I think that this is the accumulation of a bunch of different things. I mean, one, the Minnesota Lynx are just coming off a series that they lost in part because the referees totally lost control of the game, and that happened to them last year in the WNBA Finals, where the game was called so wildly different than how any WNBA game was called the entire regular season, and the referees botched a call and review last year that cost the Lynx a championship. That they were one possession away, they gave the Liberty an extra possession, and then there's a bunch of little other things that have sort of gone along as they approach a huge CBA negotiation. I don't even know with other leagues how to put this in context because nothing like this has happened in a really long time in other sports. But the WNBA players have been getting less than 10% of the revenue that the league brings in, which is insane because every other sport gets about 50%. And the W wants to keep it that way, and their commissioner wants to keep it that way, and negotiations have been a mess between the players and the commissioner as this league is ready to take a big step forward with new television deals, a lot more attention on them. And Nafisa Collier decided that she was going to air all the dirty laundry of the things that the commissioner has been saying in negotiations, including that Caitlin Clark should be happy and getting down on her knees and thanking the WNBA for the platform, which is pretty crazy because of Caitlin Clark's popularity, right? So Nafisa Collier just came with all the receipts today and decided to air it out. And as you said, it's pretty unprecedented. We've never really seen anything like it. Usually these things stay behind closed doors, but the incompetence of this league, not just the refereeing, but the handling of so many different things through the years, I think just bubbled over with the Lynx feeling like they were asked to play a different type of game than they played all year long, and Nafisa Collier got hurt in the process of this ultra physical to the point of complete absurdity game that they played against Phoenix.
You've covered pro sports. Do you think the players, because now there's players supporting Nafisa Collier on this after she said this today. Lexi Hull was just asked about it as they get ready to play the Aces tonight. She said, oh, she's right on. I mean, she's spot on. So other players are saying, hey, we support it. Stephanie White, a head coach of the Fever, pretty much said, oh, Nafisa Collier's, she's an upstanding player, and what she says is we should really look at. So do the players have enough power to, change the leadership here? I mean, is that going to work?
Yeah, so this is, again, something that's very different from any other league, where Nafisa Collier, another part of this is that her and her husband started their own league where, it's in all the NFL contracts that you couldn't just go play for another league. Right. But it's not in the WNBA contracts because a lot of players play overseas. So Nafisa and her husband, who actually used to be one of Kobe Bryant's trainers, they started their own league and got a bunch of WNBA players involved, and it was on TNT, and they're going to do it again this year. So if they get locked out of the WNBA, they have their own league. They've got the infrastructure. They've got the venues. They've got the TV contract. They've got the players. Paige Beckers is going to play. Aaliyah Boston's going to play. Haven't heard from Caitlin Clark yet on that, but, a lot of star talent already is ready to play in this league, and that's a negotiating chip for them against the league. But I think that it goes beyond just these negotiations. I think it goes to the trust where they have felt like they have been completely undermined by illegitimate leadership from the very top. And I thought it was really interesting that the commissioner put out a statement and did not deny any of the things that Nafisa Collier said that she said, which was pretty damning. She would have been, I think, better off just saying nothing. And you add this with the commissioner suspending the Lynx coach for their playoff game that they lost to get eliminated. I think that the player support, the coaches' support for Nafisa Collier really tells a story that there has been a feeling in this league that they do not have the type of leadership that is consummate with what they have now for attention. If this was 15 years ago and there were very few people watching the WNBA, maybe, but this is now a main sport. It is outdrawing a lot of major sports when they have big playoff games, and they're expanding by multiple teams. They need good leadership going forward, and clearly the players do not believe they have that in Kathy Engelbert.
Yeah, think about this. Salary cap for a team is $1.5 million. It's $1.5 million. And the media deals and all the stuff that's coming is going to surpass all of that. Very interesting. I wanted your thoughts on it. I know you're plugged in on it. Matthew Coller is on tonight from the Twin Cities. His site is purpleinsider.com, talking Vikings. But big news out of the WNBA with Minnesota Lynx star Nafisa Collier. You'll check out what she had to say. It was quite something. Okay, let's go to the Vikes. Get your take. I've asked national guys this. Where do we stand on the Vikings? Do we know how good they are because of the J.J. McCarthy thing? We don't know. Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz. Do we have a sense for how good this 2-2 team is?
I don't think so, because we just have not seen the version of the Minnesota Vikings that we thought we were going to see. I mean, when you go through all the players that are out right now, Pro Bowl right tackle, first-round left guard, Pro Bowl center, Pro Bowl running back, linebacker who calls all the plays. It's just there is just and Andrew Van Ginkel, who was an All-Pro last year. That's all. Just this whole group of star players that are out, which is really hard to work around. But also, it's not all the answers for why the Minnesota Vikings are 2-2 and not 4-0, which they easily could be, considering the opponents that they faced and the way that the games played out. I think the quarterback situation has just thrown them into such disarray, where if you had a veteran quarterback, if it was Kirk Cousins here, you would expect that quarterback could guide them through situations like that. With all the injuries, they had the first couple games without Christian Darrisaw, their franchise left tackle, and Justin Jefferson didn't practice all summer because of an injury and all those things. But now you're asking J.J. McCarthy through the first two games, who has never played before and sat out all of last year with an injury, didn't even actually play that much in college, if you go back to his college career with Michigan. And then Carson Wentz, who is 33 years old and is a veteran backup quarterback. And look, he's as good as it gets as a backup quarterback, and he can get you to a 500 record if you had to start him for the entire season. But asking Carson last week to play with 3 backup offensive linemen against one of the best D-lines in the NFL, it was clearly a lot to ask. He still almost pulled it out somehow at the end, but it was clearly a lot to ask of Carson Wentz, who also just got here a month ago. So I feel like it's one of those, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for this team. They're 2-2. They're playing the Cleveland Browns. They need to leave London at 3-2. And then there is a very difficult schedule, but it's not maybe as scary as it initially looked. The Eagles' offense is struggling a bit. The Chargers have a bunch of injuries. The Green Bay Packers looked failable the other night against Dallas. They're going to come up eventually. Baltimore looks failable as well. So the opportunity will be there when they get everybody back, but it really will come down to what does the quarterback position give this team, because right now they are the number 2 team in 3-and-outs. They haven't been able to move the football consistently. They're the number 1 team in sacks. There's a lot to resolve even when they get healthy.
Okay, you talk about the offensive struggles. How about the defense? Where do you stand on the defense? They've given up yards, and then they'll look really, really good. So where are you at on the D? And I know there's some injuries there too, but what's your take on the defense?
Yeah, I think the game against Pittsburgh was extremely disappointing from the defense because it's not what we expected. I mean, we expected, I think, them to slow down Aaron Rodgers, but I also want to give Pittsburgh credit. They had a great game plan. They understood guys are out on the Vikings front 7, so what they did was they put 6 linemen up there, and they handed the ball off on first down, second down. They wore down that defense. As we've seen, when the Vikings have lost, that's what's happened, is when you have 3-and-outs, when you have sacks, when you're punting, when you're turning the ball over. They've had how many interceptions now as well? 2 of them from Wentz last week, 2 in the game against Atlanta from McCarthy. What's that mean? That means there's a lot of strain on the defense. So what you're asking them to be is perfect. And while this defense is really good, I think still, it is not perfect. And Rodgers found some things. They ran the football well. And if you're going to ask, I think, any defense to just stop the other team from ever moving the ball or ever scoring, that's a pretty tough task if your offense isn't staying on the field or isn't producing touchdowns when they have drives. So I still think it's a very good defense. It's missing 2 very, very good players, and that's hurt them. But I also think that they're flawed in a very specific kind of way, which is that if they are trying to play from behind and the other team can run the ball, I don't see a solution there with the roster that they have because they overhauled a lot, because they traded away Harrison Phillips, how they're going to be able to completely shut down teams' run game. So they have to play from ahead. That's kind of how they've been built. And so far this year, they haven't done that a lot except for the Cincinnati game.
So it's the Browns. Matthew, I'll let you run with this. Are the Browns as bad as we think they are? I tend to think not. They surprise some people, but they're supposed to be bad.
Oh, they're bad. Yeah, they're bad. I mean, their offense is as bad, I think, as any offense we've seen, I don't know, in the last decade. It's really truly that awful. They can't move the ball at all. They get sacked all the time. They have backup linemen in. They have receivers who can't catch the ball. And now they're going to ask Dylan Gabriel to save their season, it looks like, which good luck with that. But on the defensive side, they are scary. Myles Garrett might be the best pure football player in the entire NFL. He's destroyed teams so far this season, as he always does. Malik Collins is crushing it up front. They have high draft picks in the secondary. I mean, it's a fantastic defense. And if Carson Wentz is pressured all day again, then everything's on the table. Just like it was, Pittsburgh's not that good, but everything's on the table if you're getting sacked, throwing interceptions while you're under pressure, playing from 3rd and long. So the Vikings are going to need a really good performance from an offensive line that's going to be starting 3 backups against Cleveland. I mean, I looked today. This has the lowest over/under of any game for the weekend, and I think that's right. This could be a gnarly football game that we're seeing in London on Sunday.
Matthew Coller is on tonight. Great stuff. PurpleInsider.com. If you haven't been to the site, get there, Vikings fans. Support it. PurpleInsider.com. Matthew, always appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nate.
Appreciate you coming on. Matthew Coller from the Twin Cities tonight. PurpleInsider.com. Vikings writer on X at Matthew Coller. All right. Vikings talk. They have the Browns. That's the old must-win, like my Broncos last night. That was a must-win against the Bengals, and I knew that would happen. Vikings got to have this one now. Backup offensive lineman, backup quarterback. You got to have this one. This is the Browns. That just shows you how bad that Packers-Browns game was for the Packers. I mean, that was bad. You aren't going to live that one down, Packers fans. That was bad. Vikings got to have it in London early Sunday morning. Lister text coming in on the tush push. Nate, why don't you stop the Eagles before they need to utilize the tush push? Well, it's easier said than done. The NFL's a game of inches, feet. And every time these guys get it third and less than 2, it's over. Because you got everybody and their mother pushing him across the line, and they're false starting on top of it. So, usually 3rd and 2, it's a play you can stop, right? Not with the tush push and how they false start and line everybody up and advance the runner. So, just wait. I hope Sean Payton has a lot of fun with it. He's going to see it a lot Sunday. Scott Pianowski is on next. YahooSports.com, Major League Baseball. I'm going to get his pick for the postseason and the World Series. Baseball postseason's underway. Scott Pianowski, his take coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Save big money on your next painting project at Menards. Revolutionize your space with Pittsburgh's Revolution Interior Paint and Primer in 1. It offers game-changing stain and scuff resistance in just 1 coat, making it perfect for any room of your home. Save big money on Revolution Interior Paint and start your painting project today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
You've seen him on the bag, now follow him online. It's Lofi, Country Heart's mascot. And not only is he a cute little slice, he adds a bit of fun to Fridays. Follow Lofi on Facebook for Free Bread Fridays. Each week his posts may include a kid-friendly coloring page, a fun bit of trivia, or one of his famous dad jokes. Jokes may be stale, but his bread is always fresh. Just like his post each week for a chance to win a coupon for a free Country Hearth product. Join the party with Country Hearth and Lofi on Facebook.com/Country Hearth Breads. Because when the bread is free, the fun rises.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
Great news. I just got the State Farm Personal Price Plan on our home and auto insurance.
You told our agent about my thing for romance novels?
No, you don't have to get that personal. Our agent just helped me choose affordable options to create a personalized price just for us.
Oh, sweet. Then you won't believe the love triangle Jen is in now.
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
That's my husband, Mr. Fix-It.
I got it! I ain't got it.
I told him we needed replacement windows for our house.
I am man!
I told him rather than go to a do-it-yourself store, we should contact Renewal by Andersen because they only do windows. They're experts, no subcontractors.
Hey, honey, did you know our electricity runs through all these little metal pipes? And yow!
You okay?
Yeah.
Renewal by Andersen, hassle-free, energy-efficient, low-maintenance windows with a professional, perfect fit.
The hole needs to be just a little larger.
Keeping your home warm in the winter, cool in the summer with their Fibrex windows.
I had no idea we had this much insulation in our walls. Honey?
Yeah?
I think it's time we call Renewal by Andersen.
Good call, Mr. Fix-It.
For a perfect fit, call 605-341-7831. Renewal by Andersen of South Dakota. 605-341-7831.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Trying to see if we can track down Scott Pianowski, Major League Baseball writer, Yahoo Sports. Let's see if we can get him. Scott, can we get you? Do we have you?
Nate, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great. I appreciate you getting in. We got it figured out. It's the modern technology. Scott Pianowski on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, MLB postseason underway. Scott, welcome in. I got to ask you, man, Tigers win the first game today. Can that do something for them from a mental side? They were struggling. Cleveland got them in the division. Tigers get in. Now they win game one. What can this do in baseball?
Well, first of all, it was a gotta-have-it game for Detroit with Skubal pitching, the one guy they can hang their hat on, and somehow their bullpen escapes in the ninth inning. Their bullpen was terrible down the stretch, which is why they got caught by the Guardians. And then when they make that error, they put the player on third base with nobody out in the ninth. Everybody was thinking, here we go again. Detroit's going to blow it. They've had a legendary collapse in September. But I don't know if they have any upside in the playoffs. But the thing they do have is the best pitcher in the American League, arguably the best pitcher in baseball in Skubal. He strikes out 14 today. And as we've seen, the first two games were low scoring. The Yankees and Red Sox right now are playing. There's only been one run. Pitching is going to be a big story of a big part of what we write in October of who goes deep. I don't know that Detroit has a great pitching staff overall, and I don't trust their bullpen. But if you're going to write any story that has Detroit being a factor, Skubal has to be dominant. He certainly was today.
Okay, let's go to Wrigley Field. My Cubbies win. I watched the whole game. They got down to 1-0. I thought, the Cubs are going to let the Padres get them here, and then the Cubs get a couple of back-to-back homers, add another one late in the game. They beat the Padres. The story is, though, the Padres haven't scored. They've been in the postseason the last couple of years. They can't score. What do you think about San Diego?
Yeah, well, again, the story was the pitching, specifically the bullpen, because Boyd did not give Chicago a lot of length today, but then the bullpen was unhittable, and that made that 3-1 game hold up. And, my friend Joe Sheehan likes to say ball go far, team go far, the 2 home runs back-to-back, Suzuki being healthy. We talked about that the last time we spoke, what a key player he was. But, San Diego is a modern offense. They strike out a lot. They don't care. They play to hit home runs. It's how they have to score their runs. It's been a weird season for them. Jackson Merrill was so good as a rookie. He was hurt this year, didn't really hit much when he came back. And they have a bunch of guys, they have a bunch of named players here. Bogart's got the big contract. Tati is one of the best players in baseball, but they haven't done it in October. And ask Clayton Kershaw what it's like to be a great regular season player, but not necessarily have the playoff success. They did win that one championship with him during the pandemic season, and then, of course, last year. But his playoff ERA is surprisingly high for a pitcher that great. A lot of these Padres, their legacies are going to be, they were great in the regular season. They didn't hit it all in the playoffs, and that's going to be something that's going to follow them around until they flip it.
Yeah, I see that. Padres having a tough time scoring. My Cubbies win up 1-0. Scott Pianowski's on talking Major League Baseball. Follow him at Scott_Pianowski. Find him at Yahoo Sports. Do you like the Yankees right now, the way they're playing? They're only up 1-0, but you like the way they're playing coming into the postseason?
I do. I wasn't sure what Max Fried they would get today because he was not good in the middle of the season, but he did pitch well in September, and so far he's held them in check. And a big part of that team has been Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, we know Judge has had a monster season, and I think Judge has to be the MVP, as great as Raleigh has been. But they needed running mates, getting Stanton back and healthy. Volpe finally might be healthy. He hit a home run today. Goldschmidt finally started to hit near the end of the season. He had a lull in the middle of the season. You can't have... We've seen, basketball teams. Danny Manning can lead Kansas to a championship. NBA teams are usually shepherded by that one star. Even football players, quarterback can lead a team somewhere. John Elway took some Denver teams that weren't overly great to Super Bowls. In baseball, baseball, it takes a village. Just having the best player. I mean, we always talk about when Trout and Ohtani were on the Angels together, they never had a winning record, let alone a playoff team or a championship. They never had a winning record, certainly never got to October, so it takes more than one guy. The definition of the Yankee season will be how well do they hit around Aaron Judge, and even though there's only one run tonight, it may not take a lot of runs. Every game tonight had a total between 6 and 7, so the odds makers aren't expecting a lot of scoring in playoff baseball with ostensibly the best pitchers pitching in a game one. I know some teams are different with that, but Judge can't do it alone. It's going to be their season will be defined by their next 3 or 4 hitters, how well they hit this month.
Scott, stay in New York. Let's go to the Mets. What should we think of the Mets? Huge payroll. They're all in. A big choke. Where are the Mets going?
Yeah, and the shame of it is that Soto had a monster season. It's so funny that he didn't make the All-Star team because at the end of the year, he was worth the dough they paid him. But the pitching couldn't stay healthy. The pitchers who did stay healthy didn't pitch well. And then ultimately they get beaten out by a Cincinnati Reds team that's nothing special, was barely over 500. They can't get the pitching right. It seems like ever since it wasn't that long ago, they had that dream pitching staff of Harvey and DeGrom and Matz and Syndergaard, and they were going to be this staff that was going to lead them into World Series appearance after appearance. They did make the World Series. They lost to the Royals one year. Harvey had personal problems. DeGrom couldn't stay healthy. Syndergaard had Tommy John at least once or twice. Matz ended up being just kind of more of a number 5 pitcher anyway, and that fell apart. They're going to need to figure out what most teams need to figure out. Who is your guy at the front of the rotation? They didn't have that guy this year. Senga got hurt. They had disappointments. The bullpen at times was hard to trust. So they invested in made one of the 5 best offensive players in baseball. He did his job, but they couldn't get enough guys out. And at times they played very poor defensive baseball as well. That may mean something they need to refocus on. They need to catch the ball, throw the ball, field the ball better than they did in 2025.
Okay, start of the postseason today. Scott Pianowski, who do you like in the NL? Who do you like in the AL?
It doesn't always play out this way, the best teams in the regular season, the best teams in the playoffs, but I fell in love with the Brewers, the depth of the pitching staff. They're such a good defensive team. They're such a good base-running team, and they have star power. Yelich has won an MVP before. Churio didn't have his best season, but he's one of the best 10 or 15 players in baseball. They're very well managed. So I'm going to take them. And also, the Brewers got a real big break. They didn't want to have to play both the Dodgers and the Phillies potentially in the playoffs. And if the Dodgers do beat Cincinnati in the first round, which most people are expecting, they'll play Philadelphia, so Milwaukee doesn't have to take down both of those teams. Maybe it's an easier sell for the Mariners, the only team in baseball, of course, that has never been to the World Series, to finally get there this year because their pitching is so good. They have 4 starters. Most teams are, Detroit's hoping for a number 2 starter to emerge from the ether. Seattle has 4 guys they feel really good about, a lockdown bullpen. Everybody steals bases on this team. Naylor is one of the slowest players in baseball. He goes to Seattle. He's running around like he's Ricky Henderson. They hit home runs. They play pretty good defense. They have an unbelievable throng of fans that are just so hungry for a team to go deep. It'll be a home field advantage like a lot of teams don't have anymore. I think Seattle and Milwaukee have been underachievers, and of course they're tied together. The Seattle Pilots became the Milwaukee Brewers, so it would kind of be a fun story if they met in the World Series. The Brewers haven't been since 1982. Seattle's never been. I'm going on a limb. I know everybody wants to fix the Yankees and the Dodgers, and if they meet again, that would be great too. Certainly Major League Baseball would love it.
Yeah.
It would be a ratings bonanza. But give me Seattle. They were the best team in the regular season. Milwaukee was the best team in the regular season. I'll take them. And give me Seattle because they have easily the best pitching staff in baseball.
Scott Pianowski going Mariners-Brewers World Series matchup. That is not Major League Baseball endorsed, by the way. That would be an issue.
They want Yankees Dodgers in the worst way, and they would sign off on one of those teams right now. I mean, if it was Yankees, Phillies, they would love it. If it was Dodgers, Red Sox, they would certainly love it. But I fell in love with Nate. So much of baseball, and this is something we have to be okay with. What makes you great over a 6-month season doesn't always make you great in the playoffs, right? They used to say, why does Billy Bean's stuff not work in the playoffs? Why are the Oakland A's of that era so good, but they never went to a World Series? What makes you good in October is a different thing. Your 4th or 5th pitcher a lot of times doesn't matter. And it's all, of course, people want to hear this is variance, a chip in a chair. Any team that makes the play, the Cardinals back in 2005 or 06, something like that, I think it was 2005, they won 83 games. they won the World Series, right? The Diamondbacks, I think, were outscored in the regular season. They made the World Series against Texas a couple years ago.
Right.
It's a small sample. Baseball, anybody can beat anybody. This isn't like the NFL where a 17-point underdog almost never wins, right? Heavy underdogs can win in baseball, and, wild card teams can win. The Florida Marlins have never won their division. They have 2 championships to their name, so... there's going to be a lot of variances. The Dodgers have learned the hard way. They win the National League West every year, but until last season, they only had that one pandemic championship, and a lot of people threw an asterisk on it. It was a short season with a lot of unusual circumstances. They really needed that title last year to validate it. Think back a generation to the Braves. They won their division every year. That Bobby Cox team only won 1 championship. Meanwhile, the Marlins, as we said, no division titles, 2 championships. Variance is going to have a big say in who goes deep in October.
Scott Pianowski on tonight, ready to roll. Yankees up 1-0, top 7 right now for the Red Sox. Scott Pianowski, find him at Yahoo Sports. Always appreciate it, Scott. Thanks.
Thank you, Nate.
Appreciate you. Scott Pianowski, Major League Baseball, yahoosports.com. Who's hot and who's not? A baseball stat makes an appearance. Who's hot and who's not when we come back?
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
If you're on the hunt for deals, now's the time to save at Fleet Farm. Wild game favorites like a 12-pound Trophy Rock Mineral Lick is just $9.99. Wildlife Research Scent Killer Spray Combo is just $9.99 after $5 rebate. And save 20% on all Huntworth hunting apparel and accessories now through October 8th. Check out all our hunting gear and accessories, all at the best prices guaranteed at your local Fleet Farm. And see the rest of our weekly deals at fleetfarm.com.
Inheritance, romance, and investment scams continue to plague South Dakotans with high dollar amount losses. They prey on vulnerable adults and swindle consumers out of their funds. Scammers befriend the victim, making it difficult for them to see the reality of what's happening. If you have a loved one susceptible to this type of scam, sit down and talk with them about these issues before it happens to them. If you or a loved one have been scammed in this manner, please reach out to the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying a home or real estate in the Black Hills? Maybe you want to upgrade to your forever home? I have been helping people in the Black Hills find the right home for nearly 20 years. When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. Let me do the work and you can open the door to your new home. Say hello to a good buy with me, David Brenneman. To get started, just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows dip down to about 57. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly sunny again tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 80. Lows level off around 56. Tomorrow night, clear skies. Temps swell above average Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 80s. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 80.
Are you thinking about starting or expanding a business? At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, our dedicated business lending team focuses on understanding our members' unique needs and truly wants to help them succeed. From the loans to get your business off the ground to the accounts to keep it running, we offer unique products with your business's best interest in mind. Learn more at bhfcu.com or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is a member-owned, not-for-profit.
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their #1 priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear, Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, let's do this on a Tuesday night. Fun show tonight. Remember, the Nate Brown Show podcast, we'll put it up tonight. You can hear the show on demand. Every guest, if you missed parts of the show. Who's Hot and Who's Not, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch, home of everyone's favorite buffet. On the Nate Brown Show, who's hot and who's not? I'm going to go with who's hot. It's easy. My Cubbies haven't been in the postseason in 5 years. That was the COVID year. My Cubbies are in the postseason, and they win Game 1. They're up 1-0 on the Padres. A win tomorrow for Chicago, and we move on in the postseason of the best out of 3. So my Cubbies, give me a little credit. Nobody hates the Cubs outside of John Brice. Cubs win 1 up in the series 1-0. In my who's not, it's the Padres. Here's a stat for you. The Padres only scored 1 run today. They've scored 1 run in the last 33 innings of the postseason. So we're talking guys that can hit it. Tatis, these guys, they've scored 1 run in the last 33 innings of postseason baseball. Youch. Back tomorrow on the Nate Brown Show. See ya.
I was the cool dad. My kids wanted me to take them to the mall. I didn't think anything about doing it in front of them, even though I knew it was illegal. Then my oldest started driving.